Hey, in order to bind a book, you'll need a book cradle. If you do not have one, do not worry, cardboard can also do the trick. You also need some paper. I will be using printer paper, a ruler, a bone folder, and if you do not have a bone folder, a ruler will also do the trick. An awl to poke some holes, or just use a nail. A needle, preferably one with a wide opening to make your life easier. Trust me, you'll want that. You also need some waxed thread, and most of these supplies can be bought together for pretty cheap, so do not worry or panic that you don't have these materials. You'll also need some bookboard or even cardboard, get creative with it, a pencil, some glue, and a pair of scissors. To start things off, we need to find the grain of the paper. To identify this, take a sheet and gently curl it towards the middle. First one direction and then the other. The direction with less resistance is the grain, and you want to bend that way. Once you've found that, align the edges, and with the bone folder, flatten the bend in a sweeping motion, starting from the outside. This is called a folio. You also do not want to use your hands to flatten the paper because it will create a lot of wrinkles. It's important to start from the outside because if you fold down the middle, you will get wrinkles on the paper, and nobody wants that. I'll show you right now what that looks like. So, if you were to fold down the middle, you would get this ugly wrinkle, and yeah, nobody wants that. So, fold from the edge. So, once you have all the folios folded, you make a signature. A signature being a collection of 4 to 6 folios, mine consisting of 5 folios and 5 signatures. So, just stack them all together like so. Very nice. Once all your signatures are completed, you'll need a small piece of paper that is of equal length to your signatures as a guide for where your holes will go. On this guide, you may place your holes wherever you'd like, as long as they are symmetrical to each other. In this case, I measured the halfway point of the paper. From the halfway point, I measured an inch on each side, then half of an inch from that point. For the corners, I did an inch away from the edge on both sides. It should look something like this. If you don't want to do my measurements, you can make whatever you'd want, honestly. As long as it's all symmetrical, it is fine. And you have a total of 6 holes. So, once you have your guide for all the holes, you'll want to get your awl and place the signatures in the book cradle. If you do not have a book cradle, they are fairly easy to make with any type of thin sheet of wood and some glue or even screws, like I did. Or you can just fold some cardboard in a triangle and place it on top of an open book you do not care about. So, you'll put your signatures on the cradle and align the whole guide to your signatures. From there, you'll just get your awl and start poking holes where your guide points are. And I am sorry that my hands are blocking all the action, but honestly, you'll get the point. Yeah, covering it all up. Bet y'all are liking that. So you'll need to do this to all your sequences and all your signatures, and when you lay them down, make sure you are placing them all in the same direction as you poke the holes. This is very important, or your points will not align with one another like so. Or not like so, but yeah, you'll see. So you'll want to be pulling your signatures off the exact same way every time, like I am doing right now. Very tedious. So if you did everything correctly, all your holes will be perfectly aligned, like how the stars will align when you find the love of your life. And once all that is taken care of, I like to grab the needle I'm sewing with to make sure and open up the holes to its width to make my life that much easier. Do this to all your signatures. Now for the fun part. To start binding your book, you will first measure the thread. To find out how much thread you need, just pull the thread to the length of your signature. Since I have 5 signatures, I will pull the thread 5 times the length of one signature. Once that is done, you always want to give yourself a little bit of extra thread just in case you need it. Once you have all the thread you need, just cut it. So now just pull the thread through the needle, but do not tie it, just fold it, and that will do the trick, honestly. Now, into the first hole, and out the next. Pull the thread all the way through, leaving just a little bit hanging out. You'll see in just a second. I am going way too fast. So, a very important rule when pulling the thread is to never pull it towards you, since that will tear the paper. Instead, pull it towards the direction you are sewing, being left or right. If you did it correctly, the inside will look like this. And again, I'm speaking way too fast, but I'm doing the pulling motion right there. You want to pull it exactly like that. Nice. Yeah, give it a tug. And the inside should look like that. Nothing hanging out. And now just go on to the next hole. And just keep going in and out of the holes till you get to the last one. And for me personally, I like to pull the thread regularly to make sure everything stays very nice and tight. But you can also just do it after each signature at the end. You don't have to do it that many times, honestly. And once you are all done, for the next signature, just enter the hole. But I guess I'm pulling again. Yeah, I pull way too much. You don't need to do it that many times. But for the next signature, just enter the hole. But keep watching, because the first signature is the only one that is fairly simple. For the rest, you'll need to do a little bit of a loop. Okay, so once you get to this section, you'll want to pull the needle from underneath the thread of signature 1. After that, it is business as usual, doing the same to the next section. And you'll be doing this for the rest of the signatures. Okay. And when you exit the last hole of the second signature, you'll want to tie a square knot. Like so. Fascinating, I know. Look at that square knot. Okay, awesome. Now all you need to do is cut off the excess thread. Snip, snip. And now on to the next signature, and again, rinse and repeat. And give it a nice little tug if you're into that. And once you exit the third signature, you'll need to dive down 2 signatures and put the needle through until you are left with a loop the size of your thumb. So you'll go to that one, pull it all the way, like so, and put the needle through and pull gently, making the stitch tight with a little tug. You'll be doing this for all the signatures until the very last one. Now just keep repeating the same actions. Make sure to go through the correct thread, like here for example. If you need some help, just lift a little and that should do the trick. I don't know about y'all, but this for me gets pretty relaxing. I quite enjoy doing it. And I make so many books that I always end up with a whole bunch of presents to give away. So it's a win-win. Okay. So once you get to the last signature, just follow along with what I'm doing and cut off the excess thread. It's pretty straightforward. So you do a regular one, but then you'll go from the outside in. Just like that. Give it a nice little pull and just cut that off. Now for the cover for the bookboard or cardboard, you'll need to cut it to the size of your folios, making sure to add 1/8 of an inch to both the top and bottom, as well as 1/8 of an inch to only one side of the edges. Don't know what 1/8 of an inch is? Here's a picture. To cover up the bookboard, just get any type of paper that has a nice thickness to it. In this case, I used the paper folder. Place your bookboard onto the material of your choosing and add 1 inch all the way around. Cut it and cut off a piece of the corners to make it easier when folding. This does not have to be perfect unless you want it to be. And once all that is done, fold the paper onto the bookboard to make it easier when you have to glue it together. And now all you have to do is add some glue. I'm using a neutral pH adhesive, but any glue will do the trick. Using a cheap brush, spread the glue, making sure to cover all the surface of the cover. Now all you gotta do is just glue it onto the bookboard and leave it to dry for a day. Or be a rebel and do it all in one sitting like me right now. It's your book, not mine. The same for the other cover. Glue it onto your book. Make sure it's aligned very well. Now you just want to get some paper and place it underneath the page you are gluing onto the cover. Normally use a thicker paper for the bookends, but we are making a cheap alternative to a sketchbook, and ain't nobody got time for that. Put some glue down on the page and spread it with your brush. Place your cover on top and make sure that everything is nice and glued. It's going to look a little wrinkly if you use printer paper like me, but that's fine. You can only go up from here. Do the same to the other side and leave to dry for a day, and you got yourself a book. But yeah, if all went well, it should look like this. I honestly had my doubts, but I knew y'all could do it. So enjoy your sketchbook.